everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. Ohio State apparently has another quarterback. Now, this is not surprising, but on Thursday night, right as we got set to record, Will Howard, Kansas State's quarterback, did commit to the Buckeyes. This is not surprising. They've been sort of flirting with him for a little bit, and it really seemed to ramp up after the Cotton Bowl. But I'll be honest, not totally sure what Ohio State is trying to accomplish at the quarterback position. And listen, this isn't going to be another anti-Ryan Day. I think he's the worst coach in the world. That's not what this is about. But you know me, you know this show, you know that when I truly believe something in my heart, I cannot hide it. I cannot deny it. You know, there's a lot of shows out there that they won't tell you how they really feel. I'm going to tell you how I really feel. And I don't really know what Ryan Day is doing right now. And I do wonder if there is an ulterior motive to bringing in Will Howard. So, who is Will Howard first? For people who do not know, kid played at Kansas State the last couple of years. Really, good college quarterback. 2 years ago, Kansas State won the Big 12 title. That is worth noting. Obviously, they beat TCU. TCU still ends up going to the playoff, but credit to Kansas State. They beat TCU. They win the Big 12. They play the Sugar Bowl against Alabama. In that season, Will Howard threw for 15 touchdowns. This year, to his credit, Will Howard improved his stats, 24 touchdowns, 2,600 yards passing, 61% completion percentage. Here's the other reality about Will Howard, though. He was kind of sort of forced out at Kansas State. They have a freshman, Avery Johnson. They were getting reps. They were getting snaps. Avery Johnson ends up playing in the bowl game. But even before that, it was clear Avery Johnson is the future. He's going to be our starter. This is no different than what happened with Dylan Gabriel at Oklahoma and, frankly, Kyle McCord at Ohio State. Those guys left because there was a guy behind them that the school felt was better. And so Kyle McCord hits the portal, Will Howard hits the portal. Very good college quarterback, but there has never been a moment where I thought he was elite. There has never been a moment where I thought that is a guy that you have to go get to elevate your program from good to great. Elevate your program when you have star wide receivers, a star running back, a star-filled defense. But that is exactly what Ohio State seems to be saying with this commitment. We need another quarterback. All the other pieces are figured out. We will get it figured out with Will Howard. There's just one problem. Doesn't that sound like the exact same messaging that we just got about Devin Brown, the quarterback who started in the Cotton Bowl a few days ago? Because that is the problem with me with Ryan Day, is that, look, I get that, he's done some great things. They were awesome in 2019, good enough to win a national championship. They played for a championship in 2020 during that COVID season. I will not take that away from him. But at the same time, on top of the fact that all the on-the-field stuff, 3 straight losses to Michigan, no Big Ten titles during that stretch, no division titles during that stretch. The bigger picture is I just don't get where this program is going. And more importantly, I don't love the messaging coming out of it. It feels like to me every time Ohio State loses, there's a leaked little story about some excuse. A few years ago against Michigan, the whole locker room had the flu, and that's why we lost. And then this past year against Michigan, Kyle McCord was obviously the problem. Was he really? Went 11-0 before the Michigan game. Didn't think Ryan Day coached very well in that Michigan game. The defense couldn't get off the field on the biggest drive of the season, but it all fell on Kyle McCord's shoulders. And so it was interesting to watch it play out because after that game, we've talked about it a million times, Kyle McCord was forced out as the quarterback. And all I heard for a month was Devin Brown's the answer. Devin Brown's the future. He's an alpha. The locker room loves him. Then what ends up happening right after that? We all know. Devin Brown goes to the Cotton Bowl, struggles, gets hurt. And then all of a sudden it's like, we got to go get another quarterback. So was Devin Brown really the answer? Or were you just trying to sell that Devin Brown was the answer? But Devin Brown, by the way, who couldn't beat out Kyle McCord in the preseason, who had 3 different chances in the spring. He was hurt in the spring, but in summer camp, Then you have the first game against Indiana. The second game, finally, after the second game, you have to go to Kyle McCord because you're playing Notre Dame in week 4, but that's neither here nor there. But you sold me for a month that Devin Brown was the answer. You sold me that he was the guy. Then he has like 2 bad series and you go out and get another quarterback. So why am I here to believe that this kid who was okay but never great at Kansas State is really the answer? Instead, you know what this feels like to me? This feels like Ryan Day. Now, listen, I think Will Howard is fine. I don't think he is a significant upgrade from what you told me Devin Brown is. Instead, what this feels like to me is Ryan Day moving the goalposts, right? This is what I mean by that. What I mean by that is that Ryan Day can now sell. Remember, he just sold for a month. Devin Brown's the guy, Kyle McCord wasn't. Now he's got another 8 months to sell that Will Howard is actually the guy. I'll give you a weird cross-sport example. Guy that I have never bought into, Daryl Morey, the GM of the Philadelphia 76ers, previously the Houston Rockets. I said it all the time when he was with the Rockets. I said, this guy's a clown. All he does is reshuffle the deck every 6 months so he can say, hey, we just need a little bit more time. We're figuring things out. Then when it doesn't work, he just reshuffles the deck again. Remember, he had James Harden and Dwight Howard for a minute. Then it was James Harden and Chris Paul. Then it was James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Then you change the coach. Then you change this. And every 6 months, he's changing something different so that he could say, just give me 6 more months. We'll figure it out. Isn't that what Ryan Day is doing right now? I mean, look at what he just did. Just sold us for a month that Devin Brown is the guy. Now, all of a sudden, you're completely out on Devin Brown. You need to bring in another quarterback who, by the way, I don't even think is that good. So I'll be curious to see what the reception is and what the commentary is on this Will Howard thing. I think he's a fine college quarterback. I think he's okay. I don't think he is the guy that is going to re-elevate Ohio State to the levels of Georgia, of Bama, of Michigan if Jim Harbaugh comes back, of Oregon coming into the Big Ten, of Texas, on and on. So we will see Will Howard as the quarterback at Ohio State. The one thing I will say, if this kid is good, he's certainly got some talent around him, because the one thing about Ryan Day, that staff, Brian Hartline, the offensive coordinator / wide receivers coach, they sure do know how to recruit weapons. Sounds like Travion Henderson might be coming back. Sounds like Emeka Egbuka might be coming back. You have the number 1 recruit in the country, Jeremiah Smith, coming in. 5-star Carnell Tate, 5-star Brandon Inniss. So there is plenty of talent in that locker room. Maybe I'm dead wrong, but forgive me. I just don't buy that this kid is the answer.